What up guys, this is DeBoerium, and today we'll be taking a look at a flat earth channel known as eftupworld. Now I've had many discussions with him, and one lasting quite a long time at that. A few months ago I had an hour and a half discussion with him on his channel, and I'll link it in the description if you'd like to check it out. Anyways, he has done many observations over Mille Lacs Lake in Minnesota, claiming that it is proof of flat earth, when in reality it is not. Recently he uploaded a video titled "To Anyone Living on a Globe," where he composites all of his observations, challenging people that they don't live on a globe. So today, we'll take a look at these observations and see if they comport with reality. So without further ado, let's take a look.
Okay, we're looking across a lake at two different images. I have that one floating in the middle there. And the reason why we're looking at this is because there's a van right there on the road, which is about 5 feet higher than the water. And we also have a truck driving on an ice road, and that is right there. This is 9.5 miles from the camera, the house is, and the camera's 25 feet above the water.
Okay, so let's first take a look at this observation in the middle. I also think it's this observation right here. So we know that the van is about 9.5 miles away with a height of around 5 feet, and the observer's height is 25 feet. So let's put that in the metabunk curve calculator. So as you can see, there would only be 4.7 feet hidden with standard refraction taken into account, and about 7.6 feet without. With you saying the van is driving on a road 5 feet high, these observations are exactly what we'd expect to see on a globe. Overall, this first bit of claimed evidence of flat Earth is in reality not, and in contrast puts evidence against it, as you would be able to see the elevated road if the Earth were to be flat. One thing to take into account is the ice drifts on the lake, but if that were to be hiding the road, then the van wouldn't be on the horizon.
Okay, if you still think Earth is a globe, I'm hitting you up again. I should do this every day, actually.
Now we will be able to tackle this observation here, and this one was a bit harder to find as it wasn't stated in the video, but I was able to find the original video, and here is that video. Okay, so analyzing the video, there were two water towers and a casino that he looked at, and reading the description gives us the rest of the information needed to start. So first let's take a look at the elevation of the area in which he is focusing the camera, and where the water towers and casino lie. So as you can see, the elevation of the casino is about 1,300 feet, so comparing that to a viewer height of 25 feet and a viewing distance of around 14 miles, you would get 31 feet hidden due to standard refraction and 41 feet without. Again, this observation is exactly what we would see if we were on a globe. This observation again provides evidence for a globe Earth, as we cannot see the shoreline nor half of the house left of the casino. So far, not looking so good for your flat Earth evidence.
Because until you learn the truth, you're going to hear about it every day from somewhere. Because we have it covered, okay? It's not a game we're playing. No.
Agreed. Until you learn the truth, you will hear it by people like me every day. Anyways, let's take a look at these two observations here. The bottom one appears to be using the same video clip as the top one, but it goes way in more depth. So we'll be taking a look at the bottom one. Again, like the other video, I had to go find this one on his channel, and this is that video now. So as you can see, he focuses on the camera in the same points before, but with the camera much closer to the water. So at a viewer height of 1.6 feet and a viewing distance of 14 miles, you would get about 86 feet with standard refraction and about 103 feet without. And knowing that the elevation of the area being 1,300 feet, you'd have no problem viewing those items. There is a point in the video, however, where you can see some houses next to a radio tower, and then he shows satellite images of those houses. One question is to ask is why do we only see a few of the houses when the satellite image shows many more? The answer is that the houses that we are able to see are more than 1 story tall. Keep in mind that people don't build their houses directly next to a lake or ocean due to the danger of flooding, and taking that to an account, that the houses we are able to see that are more than 1 story tall, and that they don't build their houses directly next to a lakefront, you would have no problem viewing them. This again is evidence of a globe Earth, as we cannot see the other houses in the satellite image because they are below the horizon.
Let's look logically at something very simple. If you say that Earth is a sphere, you're putting limitations on what we can observe. It's not very smart.
Absolutely
Wrong.
Prove.
So far, what you have observed complies in every way and more than suggests that we live on a globe.
To stand next to something you haven't observed, and you're arguing with it what other people are showing you that they have observed. And they have footage of this stuff. For 3 years, they've been pointing out that water at its surface, I don't like the word level, but it's level, and it is also perfectly flat when it's at rest. Perfectly. Everywhere on the earth. There's waves and there's tides, but when it's at rest, if it's ever at rest, it's flat.
This clip right here is just a video of him driving, and I don't believe there is any evidence or claimed evidence in this video clip, so we'll just take it out.
And if you want to argue with that, the approach would not be to spout your mouth and argue about it. The approach would be to provide some evidence, like we're doing. Okay?
Okay, I'll give you some evidence. This video is from Wolfie6020. Link is in the description of the entire video.
So here is a still shot taken from 30 metres elevation at the top of the hill, 12.5 miles looking across at Bathurst Lighthouse on Rottnest Island. You can see clearly the ground level and the hill that the lighthouse is built on. Now, when we went down to the water's edge, we were only 2 metres above the water, and you can see that that ground is now completely hidden by the curvature of the earth. We can only see the lighthouse. 12.5 miles from 2 metres elevation, you can see there is a significant amount of that ground hidden.
Here's some more, and the second picture is from your own observations. And one more just to be safe. This video will also be credited in the description.
because you're not doing that. On one hand, you say we can see the curvature easy. 3 miles away from us, we can see it. We can see ships start disappearing as they're shrinking and going away. We can start seeing disappearing from the bottom up. We can see the sun disappear from the bottom side first. We must be on a globe.
Correct!
Well, let's science it up a little bit. For real. Okay, I live by a lake it's like, at the most it's like 20 miles, but to look across, there's boat landings and things like that. Lots of areas that you can stop and look directions across the lake and whatever. Now on a calm day, like a calm morning when the water's like glass and there's not many waves, I can put my camera 20 inches above the water and I can see, not very clearly, but I can see tiny little lake houses 15 miles away on the shore. When the math for your sphere, for your globe Earth, clearly tells me that anywhere I am.
The math does work, and I already explained it. You can see the houses, yes, but why are the houses cut in half? And do the people that live in those houses live half underwater? No, they don't. We never see the shore with boats docked at them in any of your video clips. It'd be a perfect time in the clip you're just talking about, where you point the camera towards the radio tower. The satellite image that you provided clearly shows a docking area and many docking ports along the houses, but in your video, they're completely below the horizon.
On water especially, because water would have to uniformly curve to the center of Earth in the heliocentric mess. So water would be the place to measure curvature, is what I'm saying. The only place. Because land has hills and mountains and valleys. There's really no way to measure the curvature unless you were talking about an immeasurable distance. You'd have to be using equipment like gyroscopes. But you don't want to use those because they kind of prove that there is no curvature.
But is that true? Now with normal gimbal gyroscopes, friction becomes a huge problem as they are just not sensitive enough. But there does exist a ring laser gyroscope that is being used in most modern aircraft that is sensitive enough. Recently, last year in 2018, many flat earthers pooled their money for one of these gyroscopes so they could prove once and for all that the Earth does not move and is flat. But it turns out they did the exact opposite.
In today's 21st century navigation systems, they're using what's called a ring laser gyroscope. It is extremely precise. One of the people in the community actually purchased one. But what we found is when we turned on that gyroscope, we found that we were picking up a drift, a 15-degree-per-hour drift.
Now with that being said, there is even more evidence against a flat Earth. Okay, now let's look at this last bit of evidence here. Again, like the other clips, I had to go on and find this on his channel, and here is that video. In this video, he looks at the same radio towers before, but much farther away and with a viewer height of 6 feet. As shown before, the area's elevation after the lakefront is close to 1,300 feet. The radio tower in no way should be obstructed. This again provides evidence for a spherical Earth, as in the video we cannot see the houses because they are all hidden behind the curvature of the Earth.
And that there is no motion. But anyway, that being said, it would be logical for you to understand what we're saying. What we're saying is that you cannot prove us wrong because we've already proved you wrong.
Your observation should be used as evidence for globe Earth. They work with the math and heights you gave, which I'm trusting you didn't fudge to begin with. You didn't prove anyone wrong.
And there's no way to unprove that because We're talking about seeing things that you say we can't see. At 20 inches, I think there's supposed to be a horizon on the water, something like 1.73 miles away, something like that, if I remember right. But there is no horizon on the water at all.
Wait, did you say there was no horizon at all? This picture taken from your video with the camera 20 inches above the water clearly shows a horizon. First, what the house couldn't have, and second, with the absence of boat docks and many houses which we know are there, thanks to your satellite images.
In 15 miles. So who's gonna be able to show me that there's all that curvature when it's not there? It's just not a very good stance to be taking. It's just not.
Absolutely
Wrong.
true.
I don't know why. Well, I do, but I can't prove why we couldn't see these things before and that we can now. I can prove that they're true. That's the difference. You can't prove that your globe is true because it's not.
Absolutely
Wrong.
true.
Please feel free to look back at the evidence that I have provided.
Here is my question to you. Are you bluffing? Have you gone out and checked whether the Earth is curved or not? Have you measured the surface of water over long distances and done the math? I am willing to bet you haven't. Unless you're like me and are telling people the Earth is flat. We're looking about 18 miles right there to those trees. And my camera is about 25 feet off the water.
Overall, there was no flat Earth evidence given, and in contrast, there was evidence put against it. Thanks for watching. Yours only, DeBoerium.